Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda, and please welcome to our Operation Freedom platform, WeThePeopleProcessing.com. You know, are you tired of being threatened to be canceled just because you have a company focused on liberty and freedom? Well, worry no more, folks. WeThePeopleProcessing.com is your go-to merchant services, freedom-based company to provide business service payment solutions. We the People Processing provides their clients a cancel culture-free platform which is domestically based. They provide competitive rates, no contracts with next-day funding, a fully vetted and like-minded financial infrastructure, and full support for integrations, implementation, and e-commerce efforts. Bottom line, WeThePeopleProcessing.com focuses on defending your company's free market growth, values, and future. Check them out at www.WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Once you're on the site, enter in password Operation Freedom or call 855-499-2024. That's WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Then, when on the website, enter Operation Freedom as your password or call 855-499-2024.
Mr. President-elect,
go ahead.
Can you say
She's
categorically,
asking a question.
Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You are
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a
question.
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Dave versus the MSM. Today's topic is constitutional freedom patriots expose the thugs, the totalitarian, globalist, deep state thugs. Now, everybody in the bought-off lamestream fake media, because remember, they are a tentacle of the deep state, want you to believe that, well, they have complete control. Everything is going their way. Well, I don't believe that's the case. And why do I believe that? Just look at their actions. They're panicked. They're desperate. Just look at how they're trying to shut down issues associated with accountability and transparency in, you name the topic, whether it's related to the, I can't say the word here, 32 years of clinical practice, and if I say I will be deplatformed, so that's why we do. Look how they're acting about it. Look at what they're having to do in Arizona with an issue related to accountability and transparency. No, they're panicked. Yesterday or Sunday on Operation Freedom, the radio show, which you can come and listen to. It's live and it's free. Every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern, you go to davejanda.com, hit the Listen Live button. It'll take you to Wham Talk 1600 streaming service, hit play, and you're with us. Great guests, great analysis. But on Sunday, I had General Tom McInerney on. And he was one of the now 161 generals and admirals who signed a letter warning of conflict between Marxism and constitutional freedom. This is a historic letter. There have never been so many admirals and generals step forward and say, enough. Enough. This is not what the Constitution is about, the road we're on. The rights and freedoms and liberties of 329 million Americans are being violated, no matter what their political persuasion is. General McInerney addressed that letter. Now, I cannot post. Days gone by, I could post that interview here on YouTube, or what I call now YonTube. I can't do that. It would be immediately taken down and our platform taken down. So the interview is available on our Rumble channel, the channel being Operation Freedom, just like this channel's name in the radio show. So it's there for your listening enjoyment and pleasure. But I want to address this letter. Because many people believe, because they still listen to the bought-off lamestream fake media. They might not quite believe everything, but they still listen to it. They say, well, nothing's really going on. No, there's a lot going on. Now, I know the bought-off lamestream fake media does not speak about this letter, about constitutional freedom. Let me give you a little highlight. And this is from Jack Phillips from Epoch Times. More than 120 initially, now up to 161 retired generals, admirals, and military officers signed a letter that warned the United States is embroiled in an existential fight and called on all citizens to get involved in local and state politics. Quote, "We are in a fight for our survival as a constitutional republic like no other time since our founding in 1776. Notice the generals and admirals use the term constitutional republic, which we are. Biden and his crew keep talking about democracy. No, the United States of America is a constitutional republic. There is a difference between a constitutional republic and a democracy. The letter goes on, the conflict is between supporters of socialism and Marxism versus supporters of constitutional freedom and liberty. The letter also stated that opposition to proposed bills and laws that would strengthen election initiatives has troublesome implications. It's a historic letter, and it calls the totalitarians, the deep state, the globalist syndicate, the New World Order crowd, the criminal international banking syndicate, whatever you want to call them. It calls them on the carpet. And it puts forward the fact that these generals and admirals were putting their careers, their track record on the line, saying, this is not conspiracy theory, because that's what the deep state loves to do. Anything that they don't want exposed, they classify it as conspiracy theory. Now, it might have some elements, whatever the issue might be, of conspiracy in it. But many, if not the entirety of time, when they label something conspiracy theory, it's actually conspiracy reality. It's conspiracy analysis. And that's what they despise. They despise data, science, fact, accountability, transparency. Just look at how Harris and Biden have yet to visit the southern border and those detention camps with the many thousands of children, because they don't want transparency or accountability. I mean, for many months, and they still are to this day, blocking reporters full access to those facilities. And this from Charlotte Cumbersome, again, from the Epoch Times. Border Patrol Unit. It's impossible to protect the American public with the open border. Now here again, Patriots stepping forward and putting in the limelight the truth. There's a lot happening. It's just if you listen to the bought-off lamestream fake media, you'll get none of it. And you never will. Because that same media is owned and operated by the criminal syndicate. Back to the article. The most concerning aspect of the border crisis is the increasing number of illegal aliens who are getting away, says National Border Patrol Council President Brandon Judd. Quote, "We don't know who they are, where they're from, or what their intentions are," end quote. He goes on, quote, "When you look at the border security and when you look at the border, we have to be able to identify who's coming into the United States. And if we can't do that, it's impossible to protect the American public," end quote. Now, you might think Biden and Harris would be upset about that. No, in fact, it's essentially mission accomplished because they are tools of the deep state. And the deep state wants the obliteration of borders. That's one of their goals and objectives. One of their other goals and objectives is to illegally surveil each and every American citizen. Now, this is nothing new. If you've been a watcher, a viewer on this channel, you know that General McInerney and Admiral Lyons on March 19th, 2017 came on our radio show and blew open the fact that the Obama administration, Obama, Biden, Brennan, former director of CIA, Clapper, former director of national intelligence, Comey, former director of the FBI, with the assistance of another former director of the FBI, Mueller, commandeered a surveillance platform that was used to monitor terrorists internationally. They commandeered that platform, surveillance platform, and for their own personal use, flipped it and used it for one of the entities of monitoring their political opponents, including such people as Donald Trump, General Flynn, other political opponents. This has been well documented in many well-researched articles, and General McInerney and Admiral Lyons came on air for the first time and spoke about it. First time it had been spoken about on radio or TV. So this next element of exposure of the thugs should not surprise you. An effort to bypass spy warrants, that's what they were doing with their use of that illegal, of what they turned into an illegal surveillance platform, the Hammer. An effort to bypass spy warrants, Biden administration to partner with private firms to surveil so-called domestic terrorists online. Now, look, this is just cover for their ongoing use of the Hammer. This gives them, well, we didn't know. Oh, that's the private firms that are doing that. We had no. See, they got caught. They got caught red-handed. And what they're trying to do is offload this now with an excuse to say, well, we didn't. They, of course, know what's going on. Oh, that's that private firms doing that. Wow. Whoa. Gives them plausible deniability. The Biden administration will be partnering with private firms to surveil domestic terrorists online. Well, who are domestic terrorists? Anyone who speaks the truth? Because that's what it's coming to. This is a George Orwell 1984 period in our history. Goes on. In other words, since the Biden administration can't spy without a warrant or a probable cause, yeah, they can, or an ongoing investigation. Sure, that's what they've been doing with the Hammer for years, of which they never lost control of. They will outsource it to the private sector, and this gives them the deniability. Oh, it's the private sector, when in fact, it's all them. And remember, a huge component, a huge player in that illegal surveillance that has been occurring for years. And again, this was documented in a court document by the top cyber warfare expert in the world, Dr. Kashfaraz Naya, who spoke about how this illegal surveillance was being done using the Hammer. I believe it's one of the most important documents out there on cyber warfare. In fact, it's so important, I have it up at davejanda.com. On the free side, you can hit it. It's in the box near the top. And in addition, the interview I did with General Flynn, it's on the top of our YouTube channel here, but it's also at davejanda.com, also confirms what he confirmed what Dr. Naya had said. But over time, one of the entities that has been exposed by Patriots has been the nefarious activities of the CIA. This from John Nolte from Breitbart. The narcissistic cult of woke has taken over the CIA. The CIA released a recruitment video that's just starting to receive some attention. The video proves the CIA not only kneels in fealty before the cult of woke, deep state, it also proves the CIA is hiring and actively looking to recruit the most immodest, narcissistic, grotesquely self-serving people in the world. Woke millennials. The video plays like a Saturday Night Live spoof. If Saturday Night Live wasn't itself inflicted with woke, but it's still not a spoof. This sits proudly on the CIA's verified YouTube page with the hashtag You Know Your Value and Women Intel. The recruitment video features a preening, unnamed narcissist who literally struts around preaching about how awesome she is, how proud she is of herself, not because of her accomplishments, but because of something she has no control over. Her identity, her race, gender, her sexuality, and even, get this, her, quote, generalized anxiety disorder, unquote. You see, it's in the mandate and the charter of the CIA that they not be involved in domestic-related activities. Yet their involvement in the commandeering of that surveillance platform, the Hammer, and the illegal use violates their charter, which is why when General McInerney and Admiral Lyons and any of us spoke about what happened starting in March 19th of 2017, why tools of the CIA came after anyone and everyone who spoke about it. Because if the rule of law was truly operational, the CIA would have been held immediately accountable. And as of 2021, they haven't been. They've been held accountable by the independent media, by patriots, such as General McInerney and Admiral Lyons and General Vallely and many others, but not by our court system. That brings me to what's happening financially and exposure of the totalitarian thugs by patriots. The London Bullion Market Association. Now we're talking about precious metals. The LBMA, London Bullion Market Association, misleads the silver market with false claims about record silver stocks. You see, it has been outlined that silver, which is critical in any electronic device you or I possess, is in short supply. And it is the Achilles heel of the deep state to gold and silver and undermining their paper fiat currency that is not backed by anything. And they do anything in their power to suppress gold and silver and pump up their confetti fiat paper currency, money. This was submitted by Ronan Manley. LBMA misleads silver market with false claims about record silver stocks. It's incredible exposure that he provided here. In a shocking retraction, the bullion bank-dominated London Bullion Market Association has just announced it has been overstating their silver vault holdings by a massive 3,300 tons of silver. This overstatement relates to the total quantity of physical silver bars that the LBMA claimed were being held in their own vaults. These LBMA vaults in London are operated by three banks, namely the infamous JP Morgan, the equally infamous HSBC, and the maybe not so infamous ICBC Standard Bank. Conclusion. It's highly possible that all of this is a concrete propaganda campaign by the LBMA bullion banks under the watchful eye of the regulators to confuse and deceive the market and deflect attention away from the physical silver supply problems in London and elsewhere. Look, we keep hearing about there's this chip shortage. Well, there's a silicon shortage and there's a silver shortage. That's why we have thousands, tens of thousands of trucks and cars that are built but need chipsets put into them so they can sell them. They're just sitting idle. This is why you hear about these shortages. The scam, the financial scam that the deep state, the totalitarian thugs, the New World Order crowd, the criminal international banking syndicate is falling apart. Why? Because of shortage of precious metals is one reason. and they're being exposed. Speaking of totalitarian thugs being exposed, I'm based in the largest POW camp of all of North America, that being the state of Michigan. And the Commandant Klink, from Hogan's Heroes, the Commandant Klink of our POW camp is Gretchen Whitmer, the governor. She has been exposed on so many fronts. I can't go into the issues because that would get us deplatformed. But in particular, she recently locked us down again. Said nobody should leave the state. And all those people in Florida are terrible people. They're walking around without masks on and they're congregating. And it's spring break time. Nobody from Michigan leaves the state. No. Well, turns out her chief operating officer ended up in the Florida Keys for a vacation. Her newly appointed health minister ends up in Gulf Shores, Alabama for spring break. And guess who else was down there? Not in Gulf Shores, Alabama, but in Florida was Gretchen Whitmer. Yeah. You state. The hypocrisy. And this is what is even the people out here. You hear that? Do you hear them? Oh, yeah. They're kind of scratching at the window a little bit. Not as many as used to. The reason is because they're even getting fed up with it. They say, wait a minute. I can't. And she's down there in Florida, Whitmer? Well, then she comes out. She goes, I was down there visiting my ill father. Problem was that, her father, a couple weeks later, ended up in Lansing, Michigan, driving his Tesla, looking fine. So there she is. And then the question is, how'd she get down there? Did she fly commercial? Nobody saw her in the airport. Oh, she flew private. But then it came out that it was exposed that she actually went to some billionaires in Michigan and said, I need your jet. Just so happens these billionaires have state contracts. Then she said, well, it wasn't a gift. Well, okay, who paid for it? Well, it turns out that the plane could not have been chartered. It didn't have a charter license. So the question is, who was on the plane with her when she went down there? Was she cutting some other kind of deal for some state thing, and that's how? And then, this weekend, she has this restriction, no more than 6 people at a table, and the tables have to be 6 feet apart. Turns out, over the weekend, she ends up at a sports bar in Lansing with a dozen people, and then somebody takes a picture and she says, well, I shouldn't have been there. And, well, we had too many people and, no masks were on. And, I was violating we didn't think about it. That's the operative word, think. She did think about it. And she said, you know what? I'm Commandant Gretchen Whitmer. And I'm a totalitarian thumb. I'm backed by Soros. I'm backed by the deep state. I can do anything I want, whether it's going to Florida, whether it's and now, finally, people like her, thugs, are being exposed. And even the zealots out there in the People's Republic of Ann Arbor are saying, no, a bridge too far. And that's where we are. Now, my Operation Freedom Briefings at davejanda.com. There for you. It used to be here on YouTube. Now it's there. davejanda.com. We dissect the deep state in even more depth. And of course, we have our interview with General McInerney on Rumble. And we also have interviews with Dr. Richard Fleming, who's an MD, a PhD, incredible researcher, and JD, free on the website. It was part of our Insider Insight subscription series. And Dr. Lee Merritt, all about and the science and the data. If you haven't watched those, you need to. And then you need to network them to anyone and everyone you know. And we hope you'll become part of our subscription platform at davejanda.com. Extra shows, extra content, archives to all of our shows. The Insider Insight series, the Healthcare Policy series, Department of Advanced Research show hosted by Nick Ruiz, our our contributing editor section. All there for you. We hope you become part of our freedom family. Until next time, Dave Jan is signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.